Oh my god, this absence.
We got work to do.
Oh my god.
Oh shit,
Okay,
he's
this is
coming
what's
out with
happening.
the
This is why it
accents.
took so long.
This was worth it.
Honestly, it looks good. It looks like you've been sweating in it. It fits.
I like
Oh, it's,
the modesty towel just barely covers the nips.
Hey,
Oh,
we're
I
a
find
classy
it out.
program here,
It
okay?
has like a.
It's still PG-13.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, speaking of
You
Italian
want
stallions,
wipe, like, we can start
welcome to the Real Stupid Review Show.
I am here with Cody, Eddie, Izzy, Balboa, Nick, and we're here for the review of Creed, mandated by Eddie. There's really no review. This is just us being, hungry for more Michael B. Jordan, and ultimately that's the main takeaway for all of our videos from now on.
I chose this movie today because I think Michael B. Jordan is hot. I mean, look at him. He is a god. Went in not really expecting much. I was like, all right, this is my, my nice little light joke flick where we're all going to be able to kind of just sit there and really just turn the brain off. But I got a weird amount of nostalgia from it from when I was a kid and I boxed. I told my girlfriend afterward that I was literally able to smell all the smells that I'm sure Michael B. Jordan smelled when he walked into that gym. It was a nice little easy movie. It gave me a kick that I didn't realize it was going to give me. I really enjoyed it and I do recommend it.
Hey, did you guys notice that they absolutely blue-balled us on the beat drop for the Rocky theme? All right.
Yeah.
We were owed that, and it just fades out into silence. But it fades out into a dope-ass fight scene. The movie had a surprisingly good story, but really, it's just so damn hype. What is this, the fifth or sixth Rocky? I think it's the fifth Rocky.
No, because you had Rocky 5, you had Rocky Balboa in the 2000s, and I think it's Creed.
Oh, yeah, there was Rocky 5. I forgot about Rocky 5. So, okay, this is Rocky 7. Long after the Rocky movies completely devolved into random bullshit. They bring it back in together. I love the side by side comparisons of Rocky's actual son and what he wanted from him and what Donnie brings and all of that. It was compelling enough to really get you invested in the outcome of the fights. And then God, it was so hyped. That montage was running with all the guys on quads in the middle of Philly for some reason.
All the wheelies, baby.
Wheelies, just nonstop wheelies. It's like a 12-year-old on a dirt bike on a paved road just popping wheelies. Doesn't even make any sense, but it was glorious. Just such a good job of generating this hype and then elevating it every time to get you yeah the whole time. It's a good time.
Did your parents ever watch All My Children? Like those soap operas that felt like they lasted forever. And it's I remember my mom always watching it, and it used to drive me goddamn crazy because it felt like nonsense. It was literally the awkward stare and then the transition. And then it was something bad happens, but then everybody has sex. Anyway, Michael B. Jordan had a short stint in that. And he actually was a part of that's All My Children. And he actually took over for Chadwick Brunswick. He took over that show. He took over him when he left the show. So it's they were already destined to meet again in Black Panther, and I feel it's
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. God in heaven, I'm bad at names.
It's a concussion speaking. Let him be. We'll
flip it around.
Seeing doubles.
But aside from that, back to Rocky films that never die, much like All My Children that never ends. I think that Rocky films are always going to be something that guys tend to strive to get to. There's never been a time that I've wanted to work harder to get abs or felt like there was a better chance of me actually winning in a fight. Michael B. Jordan is amazing. I absolutely loved him. The build up with him being the bastard son of Apollo, him kind of going through this I want to make my own name even though I'm born into this name. I think it's very relevant, and I think it's very modern, especially when they cut into the montages, which the montages always gave every guy an erection whenever they watched them. So it's kind of hard to change the formula to that. But I think it was still kind of it was something different. You know what I mean? You have the same thing for so long. It's good to change it to something different. With the director of Black Panther taking over the helm, he's come out with some absolutely drop dead amazing movies. I think it was a really good call. Because the previous 6 Rocky movies were written and done by Sylvester Stallone. So you got a different feel from it. Is a different movie, but again, it's not the traditional Rocky that you used to.
I think I should preface this by saying I have never watched a Rocky movie, and my association with them has always been old white dudes, specifically my friends' dads, who really like beer and barbecue. I definitely get the appeal. I know there must have been a ton of references because I kind of how like I felt about like Star Wars when I first watched them for the first time as an adult in my 20s. I understood all the references because everyone jokes about the references. My frame of reference for any of the things that would probably have been hyping anyone else up were all from like, you know, pop culture. So I definitely didn't have this, I didn't have like an attachment to it going in. I like that you learn about Apollo and like his relationship with everyone else through these small little moments and that are usually just Rocky by himself, you know. There was some Michael Bay camera thing shit going on where they circle and circle all around. I was like, damn, just like Transformers, crazy. This is going to be a rare thing for me to say. The movie was filled with like a ton of cliches that I'm not going to mention now because they're kind of spoilers. But I think sometimes that's fine, and I thought they worked for this because it's the kind of, you know, it's what it's trying to do. And like I was like, you know, I don't mind it. I mean, those are my overall like thoughts on it, you know. Like I never really had like a hell yeah moment. I never reached like a peak hype, but it just, you know, it's just not for me. Like I needed something more.
This is a movie that fits within the franchise, but the franchise itself is such a weird spectrum of quality and styles. The first Rocky, much like Rambo, this seems to be a thing maybe from the 80s, where the first one, very serious in tone. I wouldn't go as far as call it art house, but it's definitely much more quiet. A lot of things in this movie, a lot of the beats are almost verbatim from the movie, changed just enough, but I wasn't bothered by that because I do have that nostalgia factor, so they immediately won me over. Going back to my Force Awakens comparison, kind of like seeing old Han Solo again, seeing old Rocky. I'm like, oh my god, look at him, he's fucking age, you know. There's something to that kind of got me emotionally. The actual crafting of the story in this movie wasn't the deepest thing, and it got a little cheesy, but that's not really a fair argument. We're talking about Rocky movies, and we're talking Rocky 2, 3, 4. I mean, the movies are just fucking full of camp and cheese. I think it's Rocky 3 where Paulie gets a fucking robot nanny, and I think Sylvester Stallone said that he wants to re-release that, cutting out the robot. The point is, you have the first one where it's such serious art house, and you have cheese. So Creed is somewhere in the middle of that. As we kind of hit the same emotional parts of the first movie, I also, like Cody, found myself getting very excited, very amped up, and a lot of the fight scenes, you know, really delivered on that excitement. The suspense of how they were going to get to the conclusion was obviously exciting, but like I knew what was going to happen. But still, the way they went and shooting it, amazing.
I just learned why Sylvester Stallone talks like that.
He had was cerebral.
His face is
what's it called?
paralyzed.
Also, another fun tidbit: his mom, she did do anus palm readings and she would predict people's futures. That's an actual fact, and I will link it in the video now.
That's
I swear to God. Anyway, cancer. Let's go to a lighter subject, guys. Cancer. How cheesy was that?
Same thing as Rocky 2, because Adrian ended up going into a coma, so it had to pull him back and then have him do the final montage. I mean, without it, you wouldn't get a montage.
I respect Ryan Coogler for not pretending the movie isn't predictable. He understands it's fucking predictable. And he's like, obviously, Donnie's going to figure out that he has cancer and it's going to be this whole thing. Cool. Yeah, that's just in the next scene.
He does great remakes. It's just like when he remade The Lion King, you know? It's like he knows how to make good remakes. You know, even though it's predictable, we love it.
That is an obnoxious hipster take, Nick, and I know because I feel that way and have been saying that for years.
But I said this is one of those cases where I was like, you know, the cliches are fine. They work here. I'll fight if you fight. I was like,
I loved it.
It works.
That's what I meant. That's what it worked. That's what I was saying. Like I was like, okay,
it doesn't work unless there's stakes. There has to be stakes. There has to be
Rocky Balboa dies.
That's true.
Then if he died, he died, but he wouldn't be in Creed 2.
Like I think Izzy, I wouldn't feel any sort of like displeasure with not connecting with it, because I don't think you have to. Again, the good Rocky movies have been released. I mean, this is fine as a next iteration, kind of like, you know, Mr. Nick, I'm sure you're gonna speak to this, having a new Friday 13, a new Halloween. You just kind of have to put them out at some point. Even once Sylvester's dead, there's gonna be, I'm assuming, another Rocky of some kind.
Hey, there's already a Creed 3.
As long as people go to the movies, there'll be sequels. That's just what it is. Rocky was Sylvester Stallone's baby. This is what made him, you know, into like the biggest, like one of the big guys with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The movie, when it was first being produced and made, it was all done by Sylvester Stallone. He had no money to put it together. Production companies wanted to buy into it. A lot of the producers mortgaged their houses to pay for it. So it's just like there was a lot that went into trying to make the movie. And of course, after that, it ended up making $200 million, and obviously sequel after that.
But Nick, will you get the same scene of the kid going up to Creed and being like, "Hey, I heard you're Creed's son." Yeah.
And just immediately,
And then he
if
just
he would have
realized-
fell, if that kid would have fell, that would have been amazing.
I did laugh when that happened. What the fuck?
That was sick.
You gotta flex on him when you can.
was
man.
hype as
He's all
And-
street cred. I got it. Now that guy.
And then after that, there was like 15,000 other wheelies.
Fucking summon quads and motorcycles. That's his power.
That's his
Dude,
power.
he's in there fighting, and you just cut to the parking lot. There's just a boombox playing it on fucking AM
shit ton
radio.
of wheelies like going around.
394 fucking quads just doing wheelies. Fucking
No context,
gas-powered
no
beehive.
context. You look outside the window. It's like, are they just gonna like murder this man? Like they're just literally circling him like sharks. And it's like
That
it's
little old lady
terrifying.
looking out. Must be Creed's son.
Yeah.
We got two scenes that I really liked. I liked when he's looking at the mirror and he's throwing punches. He tells him to get a block it, slip it, or get out of the way. And I was like, that's fucking clever. I love that. That was good. And then when his eye is so clearly just replaced with half
It's
of
like a
potato,
prosthetic. It's like
the tap on the neck.
that earned it a star.
The eye ballooning
that
up
was
is
great.
classic though. I mean, if you look at the again the end of the first one, his eyes were like literally just fucking like look like purple grapefruits.
Looks like
just-
fucking.
I was trying to find some of those at the Halloween store, but apparently they don't have like balloon-sized eyes to shove
I'm
inside
telling
your
you,
face.
you take a medium size red potato, slice that right down the middle, boom,
I'm
one
just
on each
holding in your
side.
eye. It's like a monocle. I just sit there and like draw a little googly eye on it.
Idaho's classics.
Bro, who was the fucking British dude? I couldn't give a fuck about his name. Pretty Ricky something. But
Pretty
fucking
Ricky.
how hype was that fucking entrance, bro? This Chad straight up had a dude just breathing fire at the start of his entrance,
that was
and then the
fucking
fucking exhibit.
Leo
you know
fight
what
was better though, dude. The oneer. I mean, it's. I'm very easily swayed with a oneer, but another hype moment that made me feel the energy was. He's going down below like he's Sylvester Stallone. He's hitting him up top like he's Apollo Creed. When he's just fucking
Yeah.
wailing on that guy, I was like, oh, it's so.
That was
hype.
clean. It was good. He like Michael did a great job at portraying the like honest. Like you just see him like I can box at the glass mirror. Like that's the secret to Rocky movies. Is you just got to be able to like imagine yourself doing it and feel like you could win that fight, which you can't. But I mean, you can. That's the idea of Rocky is like
I would get
you
eaten.
could be able to do this stuff, but not really.
I was a little frustrated. They kind of teased it in because I am such a sucker. As you mentioned, you don't like music that really kind of pushes you to an emotion. And I mean, the Rocky soundtrack is guilty of that.
No. As it called, playing a theme song that's iconic in like a movie that's basically a sequel to it is fine. When you're playing like fucking stock music that has generic feeling, that has no melody that's discernible, like it's just there to manipulate you, between having a beautifully composed score. Like I may not be a Star Wars fan, but the music for Star Wars is fucking fantastic. It makes you feel a lot of shit. It is beautifully put together, and that is completely fine. Those are called motifs. Rocky has his theme. It's his motif. You know, like it's like Star Wars music. Like it's fine to bring back like Luke's theme or the Force theme when something involving the Force or Luke happens. Like that's fine. But I'm talking about like stock music, like using a stock photo in something like professional. That's what using like generic like music that's completely like, oh, I'm not even gonna remember what that sounded like after this scene.
It's time to reel it in. Second to show, give the one because this is the movie, yada yada yada. Eddie, your mandate. Let's hear the final consensus on the Creed.
Is Creed a perfect movie? No, absolutely not. Is it a good movie? Yeah, I think so. Did it reinvent the wheel? No way. It did exactly the thing that it sought out to do, to be a Rocky movie, and it did it pretty successfully, with a little bit of sprinkling in of your black neighborhoods. I was literally like, I stood up on my chair and then sat in like the fucking fucking anime nerd fucking position when I was watching it, and my palms were sweating, and that's how I know that I'm physically unfit. And I was like, God damn, this is fucking tight. And also Michael B. Jordan, God damn, I'm sorry, I'm so obsessed with you, but Jesus Christ, you're so hot.
Creed is pretty good, man. I look, it's predictable as hell, but you know what? You don't compare Frosted Flakes to filet mignon, all right? And this is no fucking Walmart brand Frosted Flakes. This isn't some fucking Sam's Club bullshit. This is Tony the Tiger ass Frosted Flakes. For this kind of meathead, but also sort of slightly criticizing the meathead a little bit, but still being a meathead type of movie, this was fun as hell. The two main boxing matches were very satisfying to watch. You got to see some very talented actors working with a serviceable script. Choosing a rating for this is difficult because I had so much fun watching it that I have to rate it higher. But if I were to like compare it to other movies that I give high ratings to, it doesn't seem to quite stack up. Creed was fun. Love the boxing. Fucking Michael B. Jordan is a beautiful, talented man. I don't know how old he is, but he seems pretty young, and I'm excited to see him continue
Hey,
being
Google,
awesome.
how old is Michael B. Jordan?
Let's guess. 29.
31. I'm gonna say 31.
32.
I don't know. That's like I said
34.
37.
Oh, wow.
All right, so I'm gonna review this little special today. Okay.
Copyright claim.
Do it.
Oh, no.
Oh shit, is he actually gonna drink the eggs? Oh god. What are you gonna do? Salmonella!
Oh my god, with a straight face.
Jesus!
With a mostly straight face. Yes.
We're gonna do 3.5 stars.
Oh, God.
There's no review. There's just that. Okay.
You know, that says it all. Like that, actions speak louder than words. Oh, man, you better have a dozen eggs now. And there's no top. I don't know, man. Bar's high.
I'm just going to smash my fucking computer and that's my review. While Creed isn't a movie that I 100% resonate with, I really do wish I could have seen the old ones to have a frame of reference, because after I went on that little tangent on the music, you're telling me that was a theme that was played in a Rocky movie. So if I could have known that, maybe my problem with that would have been alleviated a bit more. You see, that's what I mean. There are things that if you watch the Rocky movies, you probably would have dug even more. I think Michael B. Jordan did a great job. I actually really liked watching Sylvester Stallone on screen and their chemistry, and the fights are pretty good. I think this movie is, pretty predictable, but it's one of those movies where it's fine to be predictable because it's still doing everything well. That's all I ever ask. Some people try to do the same thing, but they half-ass it and they make a real shit movie. They made a good movie here. It's solid. I still enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.5.
If I were to answer your original question, Eddie, if I were to get into boxing, I would literally die.
You're a one pump and go kind of guy?
All day, every day, for anything in life. and for other recreational activities, which I will refrain from speaking on. Yeah. But unlike a one pump,
he walks.
I am glad Rocky has gone on from just a single movie, and no matter how ridiculous it is. God. I love Sylvester Stallone. I love Michael B. Jordan. I love Tessa Thompson. This isn't the best of the Rocky franchise. I wouldn't say it's the worst of the Rocky franchise, but even the worst is still one of my favorite movies of all time, I would say. So, I mean, by saying that, I mean, how can I not give it anything other than a 5 out of 5 out of 5? Also, I just got to stick with the bit, I mean, everything's a 5.
Look, he didn't do that on Letterboxd, though. He didn't. That's not what he put on Letterboxd.
Shut up, Izzy. Don't you dare call me out.
You
That's not true, Gerardo.
fucking rating.
What about Shrek the Musical, Gerardo?
That should not be spoken of. You know, I am going to unlist the video on YouTube. It doesn't even exist. You know, we never did that review.
And what I recommend everyone watch.
All right, let's see. Watch the rest of the Rocky series. That's one recommendation. Cinderella Man is a really good rags to riches boxing movie. The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and who's that guy that's always cast in Christopher Nolan movies? Christian Bale. That's the guy. You want to see good boxing movies, inspirational, like underdog stories. Check those out.
All right, we got a full boxing rec. Izzy, what do you got for us?
I watched a movie called Claire's Knee by Eric Romer. I wanted to watch stuff for a long time because I keep seeing pictures of it on the internet. This movie made me very uncomfortable because it tackles a subject that it's very taboo. I don't know how to put it in the most graceful way you could tackle such a horrid subject. I really wish I had women to talk to about this movie, to be honest, but it was a beautiful looking movie. Honestly, it gave me Call Me By Your Name vibes. There's a lot of things about like morality going on, and I think it did it incredibly well. And if you like movies where people just fucking have witty conversations, you know, about like random shit, then you're probably gonna dig this. And if you like very beautiful light blue clear lakes somewhere in France, then you probably dig it too. I watched Days of Being Wild, and this is where he truly becomes Wong Kar-wai. And as tears go by, I enjoyed it, but it was like a random triad movie with hints of like what it'll become. Like, you could argue it was Chungking Express, but it was this one. This has all the elements that make me love like Chungking and In the Mood for Love. And you know, I'm just saying, if you've liked any of his other stuff, then you'll probably dig that to see like where it all began. Speaking of Maggie Cheung, I just watched Irma Vep today, and that stars Maggie Cheung playing Maggie Cheung, but a different Maggie Cheung, because it's so fucking weird. They mentioned shit like, oh yeah, she was on that Jackie Chan movie. Oh yeah, this and that. I was like, yeah, I watched that movie. What the fuck? You know, it's so bizarre. But she plays Maggie Cheung, who's playing a lead actress in this French dude's movie. It basically shows like all the behind the scenes of like, and the chaos of what a film crew is like the egos clashing for the director and his crew, and all of this other smaller like things like passion simmering up and shit.
Eddie, your turn. You're up. What do you got for us?
Lab dice. Lab dice are probably one of my favorite dice to roll with. They're pretty. There you go.
Oh, it's like
Like a cow, yeah.
Look at that shit. But these dice are probably some of the most balanced dice that I've had the pleasure of rolling. MIG production paintbrushes. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what? Holy shit. Let me just fucking give me 1 second, boys. I'm trying out these brushes right now. But yes, Gerardo, your prayers have been answered. I'm going to be painting again. I have fucking finally gotten the energy to do it again after a quarter that kicked my ass after loafing around for 3 years.
So I watched The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf last night.
Oh, is that
It's
good?
the prequel to all of the Witcher stuff. Follows Vesemir, who should have been played by Mark Hamill, but it's like the older guy who trains Geralt. It is animated in the style of Castlevania, which, beautiful. It's a fun, violent, definitely more jovial than your usual Witcher stuff, but you have some great action set pieces, some good kind of quippy dialogue, overall fun time, and a good sort of backstory that explains some things that I think give some extra context to the Witcher, over explains a couple of things, I think, to the point of like, no one needed to know that. I also started watching Infinity Train yesterday. It's an animated series about a girl who wants to go to game development camp, but her parents have stuff happen and they can't take her, so she goes off into the woods and then stumbles across a train, and she's going through all of these various cars on this train. She's accompanied by this little robot that has two halves, this glad one and sad one, that she calls one. There's a talking corgi. There's an evil cat. It's great. It's fun, but I loved it. And before I hand you over to Gerardo, guys, watch The Expanse. It's really good, Gerardo.
But I kind of forgot that HBO is a cut above everything else. Doom Patrol, I was thinking like DC, maybe it's like The Flash, kind of janky looking, maybe on par with like Supernatural. They're showing there's a guy who worked for Supernatural, but god damn, this shit is fucking professional. It's so much fun. It's basically DC's X-Men from what I'm kind of gathering, a bunch of misfit superheroes, kind of working out their own issues and kind of trying to fix themselves in this kind of, you know, tight, awkward family unit. Each episode is about an hour long, and the production value is what really is blowing me away right now. But what also is blowing me away is that right now we're having a Brendan Fraser revival. This is actually a Brendan Fraser recommendation. Watch everything Brendan Fraser and get ready for more. He was fucked by Hollywood, and he's making a comeback, people. And Doom Patrol is part of the key to his success, and it's great, and so is he. You know what else is great? All of our opinions and reviews. Sometimes, most of the times.
Yeah,
Maybe not always.
No,
thank you, Cody. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Rocky Balboa, Nick, myself, and we'll see you guys real soon.
And then I realize that I'm paying $6, $8 for fucking coffee. I think the important thing to remember when you're watching this movie is just like the bitterness of coffee, it's always just fucking coffee. Nicolas Cage's coffee. You can add sugar, you can add caramel, you can add fruity shit, you can call it a s'more, a snicker, or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's still goddamn coffee.